Dave Andre, I'm 59 years old. I'll be 60 in August, and I don't feel it. I started CrossFitting when I was 52. That's when I first walked in. I had always been a runner, and I never felt like running got me exactly where I wanted to be in terms of my overall fitness. I was way too thin. I have a very fast metabolism, and running just made it even to the point where I got very thin and had no upper body strength. So I stepped into a CrossFit gym and asked some questions, and they told me what it was all about. And I thought, well, all right, I'll give it a try. I actually drove past the gym on Manchester Road and saw the sign CrossFit, went home, Googled it, asked Google the question, and kind of read, all right, it looks like it's a combo of cardio and weights. And I thought, I'd give that a shot. Yeah. And so the very next day I drove up and walked in and just asked about an intro class. So.
Awesome.
My wife said I was too skinny. She said, maybe you should start lifting weights and put on some bulk. Okay. And I was 156 pounds when I started, and I weigh 180 now. So I have put on the weight. Yeah. But it's been the right kind of weight.
Right.
Because I see the results. I keep the weight on, I keep the muscle mass, I keep the functional flexibility that I didn't necessarily have before. I've had a couple shoulder surgeries, one on each side. I had a torn rotator cuff and a torn bicep tendon, and I had lost a lot of mobility in my shoulders, and CrossFit has brought a lot of that back that I didn't have. The results are definitely the reason why. Because if I stop coming, then I'm going to start losing what I'm gaining, and I don't want to lose it. I worked too hard to get here, and I don't want to stop. I'm an airline pilot, so international, I'm gone 3-4 days at a time, and the jet lag is a big thing. You know, Europe is 6, 7, 8 hours different depending on which city you're going to, so you're constantly fighting jet lag. If you go on vacation and you do it maybe once, twice a year, it's easy to just kind of talk yourself out of working out. But when you travel for a living, and it is part of your weekly activity, you've got to find time. And using hotel gyms, advice that CrossFit here has given me about what to do when I'm how to work out in a hotel gym, utilizing whatever limited resources they have. I've been able to, even just using the stairs inside the hotel. Yeah, running up and down the stairs is someplace I got to go sometimes. If it's pouring down rain, I got to be inside. Sometimes I go for a run outside and come in and use the dumbbells. But one way or the other, I continue to stick with it. Well, the shoulder injuries occurred before I ever started CrossFit. They predated CrossFit. One was from skiing years ago when I was in my 20s. That's when I had a shoulder dislocation that led to arthritis and then cut through the tendons in the rotator cuff. So that's been repaired. The other side was simply aging, got a little bit of arthritis that were causing longitudinal tears in the bicep tendon. So it's been disconnected. So I only have one bicep tendon on this side compared to this side. But it really, when it comes to especially international, I've learned, it is so easy to just say, I'm too tired to do this. And you have to push and say, all right, this is what I'm going to do. I've got to do it. So we get to our layover. I take a 3-hour nap, maybe a 4-hour nap, depending on how hard the night was before, and get up around noon, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and force myself to go into at least run on their treadmill. And most hotels have decent dumbbells. I've learned how to do conversions between kilograms and pounds, and I make it work. And I try to replicate what I see you all are doing on Wodify. When I'm out of town, I say, okay, how can I get close to this with what they've got? Yeah. Plus, you've provided the hotel workout or the away workout program. I mean, as I'd said before, had always tried to run.
Sure.
And again, it was the same thing. The idea was, as a male, you're getting older, you worry about heart disease, you worry about blood pressure. I take no medications for my cholesterol, I take no medications for blood pressure, I take no medications at all. And I really do say that all the exercise I've done throughout my life, CrossFit and then running, has led to that. Of course, genetics plays a role, but I am surrounded by people at work that are oftentimes younger than me. They're way out of shape. And that's part of the motivation, is looking at the person I'm working with, looking like, next to me on the flight deck, and I'm going, I do not want to look like that.
Yeah.
And I find out, how old are you? 51. I go,
yeah,
dude, you need to start worrying about how much beer you're drinking and how much heavy food you're eating and how lazy you are or how reluctant you are to actually exercise. You need to get a disciplined program going. You got to start. You have to start, maybe start small. I know it's going to hurt at first. You're going to be sore. You got to work through the pain a little bit and you'll get there. Even now, if I go 2 or 3 days without working out and we come in here and do squats, and maybe it's been a week since we did squats and I missed some, I come in here, it's going to hurt, but I got to know that the next day I got to work through it. And it's only pain and it goes away. You work through it. But yeah, you got to start someplace. And if you keep saying, yeah, I'm too old, I'm too fat, it's going to hurt, I haven't worked out in years, guess what? Nothing's going to change. So you got to start somewhere. Maybe just start with walking. Force yourself to walk. The watches that everybody wearing now where they keep track of your steps, I think it's kind of funny to see people, I've got so many more steps to do. And I'm looking, well, maybe you got even more than that to do. Because I'm not sure the watches help. But it at least has raised awareness about how much people are moving or not moving. Totally. So, got to start. Yeah, I think it's well-rounded. You have like days like we had yesterday. We had a lot of running. I enjoy the running part. And then you may be in your area comfort zone one time, and then you're into doing something you've never done before, or maybe you didn't start till you were in your 50s, and you got to learn how. You're going to get coached, but that's okay. It's a multi-level set of disciplines around here between cardio, weights, body movement, just learning how to move your own body efficiently and effectively and not injure yourself that's huge right there. So no, I like it because it's multidimensional. Start the weights earlier. The weights, I think, are so important in terms of your joint health. I had no idea. Things like my knees, I had never done a weighted squat until I was 52 years old. And my knees screamed at me. Now they don't scream at me anymore. I had never done a deadlift prior to that, and I couldn't lift very much. Now, for me, I can lift a lot. So it's a tremendous improvement, and a lot of that has to do with my joints, being aware of where my back is, because as you get older, your low back becomes an issue for many of us. My low back has caused me problems off and on, but I've learned in CrossFit how to move and not injure your back and how to brace. Maybe I'm not as good as I should be, but I'm getting better at learning how to brace. I still will occasionally do something wrong and I go, I should do that. But no, joint health. So pick up the weights early. That's what I would have told my younger self. Absolutely start the weights much earlier. When I ran cross country in high school, the coach used to say, boys, go down and use the weight room. We go down there and goof off. We never really use the weight room. It was wasted time. Throughout my entire life of trying to remain fit at some level or another, I've learned that when you hurt, the best thing to do is oftentimes to keep moving, because the blood needs to get there, the body fluids need to get there. That helps heal. And if I can still move and work around the limitation I might have had with whatever injury I've got going, for whatever reason, if it's low back, or like you said, I had, it was plantar fasciitis I had in my heel. Yeah. If I sit and do nothing, that plantar fasciitis isn't going to go away. But if I keep working through it it heals more quickly. I have found in my own personal experience. So that's why I keep coming back. If I don't come back, I'll stay injured longer.
I agree.
Got to keep moving. When you're young, this is easier. It is easier. You've come out of some sort of sports discipline, maybe in high school or college, and it's easier to keep coming and staying fit when you're younger. And then you're going to have a setback. Everybody does. As you get older, there's going to be some setback. You're going to get ill. You might be a family setback. You might be starting a new career, and next thing you know, you haven't worked out in month after month, and then pretty soon it's year after year. It's very easy to say, well, when I was young, this was easy, but now when I'm old, it's not. And if you just got to keep at it. Can't let your ego get in the way. I look at the young guys that are moving a lot more weight than I am. It's not why I'm here. I'm not here to compete with them. I'm here to compete with myself and try to get better and try to age without getting old. Let's put it that way.
Age with grace.
Yeah. Hurt yourself. That comes up all the time. And it's like, no, I mean,
people have a negative connotation.
If you're an idiot and you don't listen to the coaches and you try to push yourself beyond what you should be doing at that moment. I've always said that when I was in my 20s and I felt 30 coming, I was like, oh shit, I'm working 30. And then I'm 30. And it's like, fuck. And then I realized after I was about 35, I go, I didn't know anything when I was in my 20s. And then the same thing happened at 40, the same thing happened at 50, and now I'm edging up on 60. And every decade that I grow older, I actually think is the best decade of my life. And I don't look back and say, gosh, I wish I was 25.
I wish I would have done it.
Because of kind of what you just said, you start to focus on what's important. And you go, I'm going to take that, I'm going to leave that behind because that is a waste of time, and this is what I benefit from. But the perspective for me is that because I'm aware of how I thought when I was in my 20s, I'm tolerant of people who are young because I go, well, you'll get there. And you don't know how bad you're going to feel if you stop. Because when you've been ill or you haven't been able to for a while, you feel it. Yeah, I have a theory that we weren't supposed to live past 40. A beast or a spear was supposed to get us before 40. So if you anything past 40 is an experiment. The body starts to fall apart unless you take care of it. And